Yo, what's up, everyone? Welcome back to another Bayou City Soccer Network podcast of Orange and Blueprints. Another edition here. We here. We're ready. I don't know if we're ready, but we're here though. It's been a hard weekend. I know. I hear Diego in the background screaming my name. So, I just want to welcome back your host Manny and Diego right here screaming his heads off.
How's it going, everyone? Happy to be back. Happy to, Manny said it best. It was a long, long weekend, both literally and figuratively. But we're back. We're here. We're as ready as we can be to talk some Dash. Another sad episode, if you want to put it that way. But there's plenty to talk about the game and about what Fabrice talked about in today's presser and everything to keep you up to speed with all things Dash.
Yeah, nothing more to do with what Diego said, but no, all in all, it was still a good weekend despite the result. But just wanted here to come back and bring you. So today we'll be recapping the 2-0 loss against KC. Also, we'll preview will be this week's matchup with Utah on Friday night. But we also got you a interview that we did with veteran Katie Lind as well with some of the guys that did it. So we go with that. But to get us started, we have the KC Current who beating the Houston Dash 2-0. The first goal came in the first half by via penalty that Caitlin, presumably that we were interviewed, fouled on in the penalty box to give the penalty to KC. Labonta scores it. She did her celebrations as always. I don't know if you saw the celebration. It was kind of like figure skating. So it was pretty much
Yeah.
through the so that was a dub on that, and also Sharpless. That's her name. Got the second goal in the 63rd minute. So
Mhm.
overall, I think a loss was expected here. You know,
Mhm.
KC now is the only undefeated team in the whole season so far. So it just proves to show that I think despite Houston's best efforts, they were gonna be outnumbered in the game. I thought it was gonna be worse. I was predicting a hat trick from Chawinga, but we're still a dominant
Chawinga,
performance.
Chawinga got zero.
Yeah, well, it
Chawinga
was
got
still
zero.
it was still a dominant performance from by her, but I think what stole the headlines was the Binia. The
Mhm.
Binia, the Binia. I think this is the Binia we saw in 2019. The
Mhm.
Binia that we is coming back. People were saying that the Binia's been drinking that Marto juice, the de-aging juice. For some reason, as you get older, you get better, which is weird because
Mhm.
what over the past 2 seasons, Dibinia was mostly plagued with injuries. So we didn't
Mhm.
see the best of her. And now she has the actual full season, no injuries. We see the best of her. But overall, 2-0. Not said we take the L like that, but I prefer take a okay 2-0 than a high scoring loss. But
Mhm.
your thoughts, Diego, on the loss for this past weekend?
I mean, I think Fabrice said it best. It was a loss. It was a loss for sure. But you can't discount the performance that we had to be able to, hold up defensively and allow players like Chawinga to, kind of not be able to hit the net. Um, in last weekend's game. I think there's a lot of takeaways. I think it's the same story that we've seen in the past couple of games. I mean, there's positives and there's negatives. There's a tale. It's a tale of two halves, as Fabrice said in in today's press conference. I think they're just clicking. And you said it best. It's inevitable when you're up against the sixth best team in world football, according to some rankings that came out this morning. Um, there, you should expect a loss at that point, but don't go out without a fight. And I think that's exactly what this Dash team did. Messiah Bright was really good. I loved her runs. I thought she was really good and very commanding when she was at that number 9 spot. I thought defensively we were okay enough to really to really hold off on their attack, considering we have Patterson out, considering that we're not all the way there yet. And I think looking at everything with the context that it was, which the game had, I will gladly take a 2-0 loss. It because it easily could have been 3, 4, 5, or 6.
Yeah, exactly. I think look at the people that are missing from your starting 11 that's been starting since then. You have okay, Patterson's gone through the injury that she got from the United States.
Mm-hmm.
Jacobs is having a knock from what she had from training, so she's still recovering from that. The only thing we got from Fabrice today that they're still good, they're still coming up on recovery, so they're about I think almost there to get back on the squad. But it's hard to do that, especially this past game. I think they were trying to go a little bit more defensively, trying to hold up KC
Mm-hmm.
attack, and so now the attacker, except I think we would say with Messiah Bryant, Yasmin Ryan shined a little bit in
Yeah.
this game, but it wasn't all a huge a bad loss, but it's still I think it was just trying to get the best performance at it. But I think it's really I think good, a positive sign that it wasn't a blowout, but
Mhm.
still I think it was a result you expected them to lose. I think Dustin and everyone that was the most easiest game to predict. The result, a loss, but I think the way the Dash received that loss, it wasn't okay. It wasn't that too bad, all one sided. But overall, there's still things to be improved on, things to look at. Of course, in this game we saw Putigam gain her season this year's 2025 season debut again against KC, replacing Calaprico. I think my question to you is, like you said, Messiah Bright did great in this game, played mostly as the lone striker until the 70th minute, got subbed up for Alozie. But how do you see her? I know you mentioned in the press conference about Deanna. I
Mhm.
think it was just really interesting. Last game she started and played the first half, and here she only played for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And it's like, is it? Are we should we have alarm or just calm at the moment about I think her minutes and
No, I think that's a good question. I think Fabrice said it really best
Mhm.
when I asked him about what his overall thoughts on her getting those minutes and kind of like how she's been doing, and it really comes down to service. Servicing the number 9 has been a big issue for the Dash throughout this season and also last season and most of the time that D has been on the roster. And I think with such a young core, especially on the wing option. You have players like Patterson. You have players like Messiah Bright. That yes, we played her as a number 9, but she can very easily play on the wing. I think like Yaz, who this is her first season with the Dash. Um, I think Fabrice said it really best, and I think he has a lot of weight to say that playing D is really tough because you need to figure out a system that benefits her with the service that she needs to really getting goals, and that system hasn't really been figured out yet. And I think that's probably why you see so many fluctuations to the lineup. I thought her performance against Angel City was really good. I liked her positioning. I liked her runs, but also she was an early substitution in that Angel City game, even if she started. I think
Mhm.
this is all about managing her minutes coming post injury, but it's also understanding that this is a player that likes to play a particular way. This is a player that likes to be a physical presence in the box. That isn't necessarily the most technical on the ball and really doesn't take players one on one. Rather, if you service the ball to her, she'll bury it and score it. And so it's for me not really the question of whether we should hit the alarm bells, but more of which system does Fabrice really want to take? Does Fabrice really want a quick number 9 that can be technical, like maybe a Messiah Bright, or does he want to rely on Diana to really be in those positions to score and really develop the wing play that the Dash have often been lacking when we had either Alozie or when Patterson is gone or whatever the fact may be. I think that's the question that should be asked, and I'm not sure yet. I'm not sure which way Fabrice wants to take it because we haven't really seen very convincing results from either.
Yeah.
So I think that's a question that I feel like we'll figure out throughout the end of the season. But I can tell you for a fact that once we get to June, July, and we still see D in and out of the lineup and really not really getting any momentum, I think that's when we hit the panic button for what was once our big time Mexican international striker.
Yeah, I think I agree with you on that. I think once it hits June and July, I think when she's still on and off the the squad, I think should be a good moment to alarm. Right now, I'm in middle of between. Just reason
Hmm.
why it's calm, like you said, hit the main points. She's coming out of injury. She's trying to recover fitness, trying to fit in the system. But also, I think as well, a little bit of alarm as well is because even though Messiah has not scored or has not been, producing in the end, like scoring or assisting, but for some
Hmm.
reason, when she plays in the system seems to flow better. It seems the players seems to. It may also be the fact Messiah Brad has been more healthy, has been more in the preseason, has been getting close accustomed to the players more. So maybe that's why as well. But I think it's just her way, her role play in this move. She's quick. She knows get back and forth, defend and attack, and it just helps the transition a lot better. I think that's for me. Like, I think just the stuck out is like, okay, she plays better in the system. Doesn't mean she's a better player. I think
Hmm.
people will say like about Aliyu in the Dynamo. She
Yeah.
she may he Aliyu of course he's going away soon, but like he may not be the perfect winger, but yet he's plays well in the system. The same thing with Messiah Bright. She might not be the perfect striker, but she plays well in the system. And then Deanna, who may be a more prolific scorer, hasn't been gelling well in the system. So I think it's a little bit up and forth on that debate. I think as you mentioned, I think we just give them more time, give them
Hmm.
more, for Breeze, let the players gel. Like I think also doesn't help injuries and injuries out. It is help to convince okay who is the top starting 11 at the moment. But I think we're in already these games in already. We're about five going to six game in. I think my question to you I think this is a question I'm going to spit onto you that I've just thought about. Which of the player pool you see, which players do you want to see more of
Hmm.
and or have more minutes in the team, or that maybe this flashes if they have played more minutes, do you want to see more in the team, and who or vice versa? What players do you want to see less
Hmm.
minutes in the team, and maybe you want to see? I want to hear your thoughts about that.
I think Messiah needs to get as much playing time as she can. I think she's proved to be a good fit in the system. She notched an early assist to Paige Nielsen in the Chicago game a couple
Mhm.
weeks back. I think you nailed it perfectly when you said that there's a player that doesn't necessarily um, have the prolific scoring that maybe a Yasmin Ryan has, maybe a Chowinga has. Um, but she's a great fit for the system that Fabrice is trying to play. And so I think, at least while Diana is still working up those minutes and working in that game fitness, you run the Messiah Bright experiment as much as you can because it might end up working out for you and you might have found yourself your new number 9. And I think that's something that Fabrice I think already has in mind. I mean, every single player on this Dash team has recognized him as a brilliant tactician. So I don't think that's something that he hasn't thought about. Um, Somebody that I want to see less. I don't see really a case for Michelle Alozier to keep playing the minutes that she is. I think she's a very, very, very talented player. I think her speed is one of the more lethal things that the Dash have, but it just hasn't been unlocked one bit. And I think it's really doing them a disservice when you have a player that has kind of like been boiled down to 90, 80, 50, 40, 10 minutes of cardio. I think you need a player with a little bit more um, a little more flow on the ball and not just making those runs, because I think Michelle has always been great at making runs, at being in a good position, but at the end of the day, you also need to be skilled on the ball. You need to push the ball forward as a winger, as a left back, as wherever you play on the flank, and I think she hasn't really been doing that. And so I think that tactic of bringing in Michelle in a late game situation when you're down um, by 2 goals and you need a goal, I don't think that was the wisest choice. Um, but another player I want to see Kiki back in action. I know she's getting back into the swing of things. I know that she'll be there in due time, but Fabrice had some really good things to say about her work ethic, about her skill. So I'm just excited to see more of her. The Notre Dame alum, I think, did really good in college. She killed it in college, and I think she's more than capable to have like the Maggie Graham esque like start to
Mhm.
this season, at least post injury. And I would love to see her really get the shot that other rookies in the NWSL and even other rookies in the Dash have had, and not just get buried in the bench, because I think it's been a long time and a long time coming for players that really haven't had the potential because they've been buried on the bench, and I don't want that to happen to Kiki. Um, this doesn't directly answer your question, but this was something that I do want to talk about. I think
Go ahead.
Paige needs to be a better or a more a heavier anchor on the defense. That's the best way that I could say it. I wanted to be very careful with my words because Paige is one of the best veterans and leaders on this team, and I'm not going to call her out for being a bad leader because that would just be false. That would just be like that would be bad journalism, bad fanhood, bad everything. Um, but I do need to see just better performances. You have Nat Jacobs out. You have Avery Patterson. The defense is relying on you to put the pieces together. And she hasn't quite cracked it yet. She's very offensively minded. You saw her notch the goal against Chicago. You see her pressing forward. You see her really like get into opportunities to score after set pieces and after counterattacks. But we need to see a little bit more of that defensive effort, especially because what if a Maggie Graham is playing at left back and she doesn't necessarily have that confidence to play that position? That's where you should step in and be like, "Hey, I'm going to help you out. I'm going to be there." That way, in case you get beat, the team doesn't get fully exposed. We saw that in Angel City, and I think that's a very preventable thing with good communication in the back line. Um, uh, I think she's bound to do it. She's a really brilliant leader, and I think once we get our defenders back, it's going to be better. But I can't rely on the saying once we get this, once we get that, because then we're going to be starting to sound desperate for things that aren't necessarily ever going to happen. We're never going to have the perfect situation. So it's about adaptability. It's about finding the consistency and the chaos. And so I think those are the things that I feel like Paige really has the key to, and I feel like she needs to unlock it to really get this Dash team going defensively.
No, thank you for your thoughts, Diego. I think I agree almost on all the points on the players. I think just quick, just to mention on the page Nielsen. I think just want a follow up question for you. You think it's? I think last year Paige was like the anchor in the defense. She was the last person. She was
Mhm.
your most solid defensive player. I think her game changed with the introduction of Katie Lynn. Not saying Katie Lynn's a bad defender. Do you
Mhm.
think her game changed just because of compensating for Katie Lynn? Because I feel like before last year, Paige was the last defender standing because you had Jacobs, you had Patterson, and then and you had to shuffle between that and Tarsiani. And now that you know Katie is supposedly is the last player standing in the defenders line, you think that's why her game changed a little bit?
I think so, but I would also argue that Paige has always been a more offensively minded uh, defensive back, center back. You saw our scoring goals like far and few and far between last season. You saw that miracle of a goal at Angel City against her former team. Like we all remember that beauty of a story. I think maybe it amplified her offensive capabilities a little to have Lim there. I think that certainly is a possibility, but I think it's really the absence of a player like Nat Jacobs, a player like Avery Patterson, specifically Jacobs, which I think was honestly, I would say, a little underappreciated in the defensive line last year, considering that the team was conceding so much. It was kind of like masking her performances to a huge degree. I think
Mhm.
now we're kind of seeing life without her, and it's not looking so pretty. And so I think it's really not Lynn's appearances, but rather Jacob's lack of appearances due to injury. And so I think that's really what's been maybe forcing the team as a whole to be a little more offensively tuned, because if they score two, we should score three, but I don't see the three goals coming, so we end up with a 2-0 loss.
But
I don't
no,
know. What are your thoughts on that? I'm curious to hear a little bit about your perspective, because I feel
I,
like I don't know you. I don't know if you saw the interview that we're going to show real soon, but I do want to hear your thoughts about it.
no, yeah, I think so. I think too. I think ever since Natalie Jacobs, I remember her first year with Juan Carlos Amorós. I think I didn't, I wasn't in or out for her. I think she was okay, because she was primarily as a left back, and not really as a good left back or a good right back, because we have Chappie, Chapman. I think 4 years, 3 years ago, so she was much younger, had more pace in her, and of course you had Capri Didasco on the other flank. So it was like Jacobs was surplus of requirements at that point.
Mm-hmm.
But I think when Sam Lady came in and put her as a center back, her game changed, her
Oh,
attitude changed, and she just leveled up as a defender as years has gone by. And I think, last year, I think just because of the whole coaching change, style change, a lot of changes, we didn't really see or highlight, like you say, Jacobs' defensive prowess. And I think it was still there. It was just a problem, like you said, we were just getting outrun, out counterattacked by everyone, because we looked like we were still at the end of the season. It looked like we're still in preseason, but it was just that. But I think I think she is the glue in defensive. I think before Jacobs and before Caitlin's injury, you would say Caitlin was the glue of
Mm-hmm.
the defense. She was the glue. She was everything. But now, I think the year and a half absence that Katie Lynn has gone, Jacobs filled that spot, and she filled it even more better than Caitlin ever did. And I think it's a good testament to see that now she's injured. We see that huge gaping
Mm-hmm.
gap in the defense, and I think it just shows a lot of her how much grit and off the ball and work to cover the defensive half. But I think it's just something that we have to appreciate, and also her and Patterson. I think you can't forget her engine for to go up and back of the field. So two engines that were missed. So I think it's just really that two defensive players. It feels like we're already four people down in
Mm-hmm.
in the depth. But it's just how it is. I think it's just players need to step up and everything. I think before I go on too head, but on the question of which players I want to see added more or see less, you know, um, I think the player I want to highlight is Michelle Lozzi. To see
Mm-hmm.
less. I think you
Mm-hmm.
hit the nail on every point on it. I think a lot of Houston Dash fans love about her, is what she did for the community. She's doctor out the side. I think everyone loves that, and also she's very active on Instagram, Snapchat. What was it, Threads, X, about her fashion, and everyone connects to that, which is good, of a brand wise. But I
Mm-hmm.
think, on the pitch, she doesn't offer a lot. She doesn't offer what off the ball passes, shooting, and I think, if you look at the bench of the KC, instead of Michelle Lozier, who will you put in? I would like to see, for instance, Kiki, or a Bachman, or Zoe Matthews, actually, to see what she has. But it's very hard because I think Michelle maybe is not productive on the field, but she has
Mm-hmm.
international experience. She has a player that can play multiple positions, but it doesn't. If at this point the season is not working,
Mm-hmm.
so, but it's hard to see. It's hard to see what to move forward from now. But I think it's too early on. 5 games in, going to the sixth game, but I think if we don't see changes to like players that make an impact, I think it's time to see maybe in the summer window what players need to be go off and what reinforcements we actually do need. But
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a. You think am I off, or I think I'm just going ahead of myself?
I think maybe you're a little ahead of yourself, but I think it's okay to look around at the players that you can get. I don't think there's ever a bad. I don't think it's ever a bad idea to try to strengthen your team. But
Mm.
I mean, this team is so unproven that I think we should wait a little bit at least. We should give them like a college try. We should give them a try, like to try to figure things out.
Yeah, I think so too. I think so too. It's all about. I think we'll see how it goes. We'll see how the team performs, and I think we just go from there. Well,
Hmm.
I think as before we move on to we'll see what Katie Lynn has to mention about her performances and how the team's view. So we'll bring you a exclusive interview that we did with Katie Lynn.
Welcome back to Orange and Blueprint. We are pleased to be joined today by Houston Dash defender Katie Lynn. Katie, how are things going?
Good. Thank you for having me.
Katie, 150 regular season games in the NWSL. Congratulations. What does hitting the milestone mean to you personally and professionally?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think personally, it feels good. It's always been a dream of mine to play professional soccer. So to have made it this far is, quite the accomplishment. I think I've been lucky to be healthy for most of my career. So I think that really has helped me reach this milestone. And then professionally, I've just been a part of some really great clubs that have really, helped foster my development and help me be the player that I am today and hopefully continue to grow and get better. But yeah, I wouldn't have hit this milestone without my past and where I am now at the Dash. So very grateful.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of change in this Dash team over the last few years. You've been here one of the longer term ones. You were here when they won their first trophy. The Dash won the 2020 Challenge Cup. How do you reflect on that? It seems like years ago, right? Forever ago. But how do you reflect back on that, especially with all the changes you guys have gone through recently with the club?
Yeah, I think looking back on those early days of my time here at the Dash, it's quite nostalgic. Like you said, a lot has changed, not just with the team, but the facility, the city, even a lot is it's up and coming. So a lot of growth, which is really exciting. But yeah, I think those early days are really just a testament to how strong and gritty this group has been and always is. I think that's something that has always been at our core, which is exciting and hopefully just continues to grow and develop with the newer faces that we have on this team and in the building. But yeah, just the growth is incredible. I mean, to see not just where the Dash is or where the Dash have been, but like the league in general and everything that we now are seeing with, contracts and the CBA and the rights that we now have, which is great. But yeah, I mean, it's women's sports is just, on this massive trajectory and it's exciting to be a part of it.
Yeah, you missed last season. You took off time for pregnancy and welcome your son Tommy. How has that, what has it been like balancing motherhood? We're returning to professional soccer as well, Katie.
Yeah, it's been quite the journey. One that I've wholly embraced. I've loved every minute of it. Being a mom is the best thing that's ever happened to me. I know that's cliche, but it truly is. Yeah, and I think he only adds to my desire to, perform and get out there and be my best on the field because I want to be the best example for him and, show that anything is possible. You can do both. You can be the best mom and a professional athlete at the same time. So, um, yeah, definitely a mindset and perspective shift, but in the best way. And yeah, he's my little guy. I'm so happy that he's here.
Yeah, you're back. You're back, back in the starting lineup as well. Like you never left. We talked to Paige a little bit earlier. I think she called you a unit. Was the way she described you. But what's it been like being back? Just back in the starting lineup, back with the team, and how have you been able to regain that form so quickly?
Yeah, I think again, that's a testament to the training staff that we have here and the medical staff that we have. I don't think I would be back where I am now if it wasn't for them really kind of putting me through my paces, but in a way that was really safe and made me feel like I was really being taken care of properly. Um, but yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I mean, it was a grind, to go from basically being out for the whole year to then having to get back into shape. My strength, my body just went through something quite incredible. So getting everything back to where I was not before, I'm a whole new person, but those movements and stuff takes a little bit of time. So very grateful again that we have the staff that we have here. And my teammates have been unbelievable. They have been so supportive. I think especially having Alicia Chapman and Ryan Garris with their babies and kind of paving the way made it a lot easier for me. So I kind of got to see the trials and tribulations that they went through and learn from, what that was like for them in my own journey. So that's been great to have them as my kind of guinea pigs. But yeah, just super grateful for all the support from the girls.
The Dash obviously had a tough loss 2-0 against Kansas City. What did you and the team take away from that match against arguably the league's best team right now?
Yeah, I mean, wow, they are quite talented, but I think there were some big positives to take away from the game. They didn't score in the run of play, which I think was huge for us. Chawinga, I think we shut down pretty well. She didn't score. She didn't really get into the seam three and expose us in the space behind, which was one of our main goals. They scored essentially off two set pieces, the PK, sorry, and the corner kick. So I think if we just shore things up a little bit and make sure that we stick to the game plan, we'll be in a really good spot because we did have good moments and we were pretty defensively connected. We were pretty much a unit that whole game, it felt like. We just have a couple little details to work out, but the energy was good going into that game. And it was, once we did concede, we were still connected and we made sure that we had each other's back and just tried to push through for the rest of the game. So if we can come with that kind of energy for the rest of the season, I think we'll be in a good spot.
Yeah, and Utah up next for you guys at home, a team that's very similar to you guys in the table. 2 home games for you, starting with Utah. How important is getting your home form, getting the first home win, and as you look forward to this matchup against the tough Utah team?
Definitely. I think every game in this league is important, but especially looking forward to the next 2 home games are massive for us. Yeah, we just need to kind of put our stamp on the league and let them know, we're here, we're ready to compete. We have the talent and the capability to do so. And Utah is a very good team, and they've showcased what they're able to do as well when they're given the chance. So now we just got to make sure that we limit their ability and really put our front foot forward from the get-go. So I think that'll be very important moving forward.
Fabrice Gautrat is leading the team through a new era. What's been your impression, of his style, his leadership so far, Katie?
Yeah, I've been nothing but positive on Fabrice. I think he's brought a whole lot of energy. The standards are super high in training every single day. We're really trying to get 1% better in everything that we do, on and off the field. I think he's big about not just the person on the field, but the person off the field as well, and making sure it's a whole experience. And then tactically, he's very, very intelligent. So it's fun to work with him and kind of see how his mind works and learn from someone that is as talented as him. So I have nothing but good things to say about him. I think he's brought a lot of great ideas of culture and trying to cultivate a really strong team unit, as a collective. So it's been fun.
Yeah, in addition to Fabrice, a lot of new players for you guys on the experienced players, Yaz and Delaney. You got rookies like Maggie, Danny, who I know you've played with for a while. What's it been like integrating all these new players into the team?
Yeah, it's been fun. I mean, everyone brings a little bit of their own spice, so that's exciting. I think now we're really starting to see people gel and connect and know each other's movements. So I think it can only really go up from here. But everyone has gotten along so well. Like we just all kind of seem to click fairly well from the beginning. So I'm just hopeful for the future and that we can keep this train running in the right direction. And I think we got some big games ahead of us that'll be really exciting to watch.
As a veteran on the team, how do you see your role in mentoring the younger players that you speak of and the newcomers?
Yeah, I mean, it's weird to be called a veteran. I just like don't see myself as that, but I am, I guess, technically. I don't know. I just try and build relationships with everybody. So if it's just, saying hi to everybody every day, or if we're on the field and I, ask somebody like, hey, like, what did you see there? Like, what was that? What was that like? Like, that was a good idea. Or maybe, we could work on this together and make it a little bit better. But I think it's just all those little touch points throughout the day that kind of make people feel valued, regardless if they're in the starting lineup, if they're not, if they're a 10-year vet, or if they're a rookie. Like, it doesn't matter. We're all people at the end of the day. So I just try and treat everybody the same.
Season is still very young for you guys. A lot of season to go. But what are some goals for this Houston Dash team and for you, Katie, as a player?
Yeah, I think for the Dash, obviously, is we want to be better than we were in the past. So for us, I think ideally, obviously, that's making playoffs. Home playoffs would be amazing. And then there's always the championship. You always want to, make a run for the championship. But for us, those are our main goals to start. And then for me, I think it's just to be a consistent player on the back line, leading the line the best I can, if I'm given the opportunity to do so. And just, making sure I'm consistent back there. That's my goal for this year.
So before we let you go, Katie, we have a couple of quick fire questions to get to know Katie, the person.
Here we go.
All right. So pregame ritual, meal. I know that a lot of you guys do coffee. You're a big coffee team, right? But what's your go-to on game days?
Yes. So I've been drinking decaf coffee lately because caffeine makes me a little jittery these days. But my meal in the morning, I like avocado toast with an egg, fried egg, and then I'll add a little bit of hot sauce on that. And then if it's a later game, for my pregame meal, I will do a chicken teriyaki bowl. So I'll do obviously rice, chicken with some teriyaki sauce and some mixed veggies. And then obviously I'm just drinking water and electrolytes all day.
Yeah, that always helps. What about music? Pre-game music, what's on your playlist these days?
Music. I'm honestly I'm either like a early 2000s kind of girl. I like the throwbacks, or honestly, some like classic rock. My dad loves music, so I listened to everything growing up. And yeah, I like the classic rock. Oldies are good too.
I know Rudy and I are both dads as well of little ones. I don't know if Tommy's still pretty young, but what are his does he have any go-to shows yet? Are you Bluey? Are you anything?
He's not watching too many shows yet. He doesn't really like understand, but sometimes my husband really likes sports. So he'll have like hockey, baseball, soccer, football, whatever's on. And Tommy will like just kind of sit there and be like, this is cool. Like he just likes to watch the sports right now, but we don't let him do that too often at the moment.
Get him started early. He's a sports family, right? He's gonna be in it. Yes. Growing up, I know being an athlete growing up, who are some players you looked up to, soccer and from other sports?
Yeah, soccer wise, I really looked up to Julie Foudy, actually. She was a big idol of mine. And then I'm from Chicago, so Michael Jordan was always around and in everything. So those two probably were the big ones. And then Yeah, my mom played basketball. She played college, and she was always athletic and like playing in leagues and stuff. So she was also one of my idols growing up.
And we mentioned it earlier, but you've been in Houston a while. What's some of your go-to spots in Houston, your favorite spots around town?
Ooh, this is good. For coffee spots, I like Tenfold, which is in the Heights, but now I live nowhere near the Heights. I'm in Seabrook, which is like way far out there. So my favorite spots out there are Merlion, which is like a Thai restaurant, really good. And then we also like Habaneros, which is like a little Mexican dive restaurant. It's really good, but the tacos are excellent. So those are probably my two go-to places.
Hey, last one, the most controversial. We asked Delaney this when we had her on the show recently. The best style on the Houston Dash. No, there's a lot.
Oh.
It's you don't have to answer. I know, but there's a lot of competition, right?
There is a lot of competition. It's definitely not me because I don't have time for that. But I mean, it's always down to Michelle and Dee. So we'll flip a coin. We'll see. Dee or Michelle.
Yeah, you can't go wrong with them.
Yeah.
She is Houston Dash defender Katie Lind. Katie, we really appreciate the time. Best of luck this weekend against Utah, and we'll talk to you again soon.
Awesome. Thank you guys. Appreciate it. Have a good one.
I muted myself. I was so into it, I forgot to mute myself. So, any thoughts on the interview we had, Diego?
No, I think she nailed it on the dot talking about the KC performance. I think it's good. It's really good to see that the team feels a lot of the positives because it can be very easy to just sink after a 2-0 loss, and so it's good for the team to get as much momentum as they can heading into Utah. Decaf coffee, not not a fan of that. Not a fan of that. If you're drinking coffee, I would say just drink the caffeine. But I get her. I'm happy to have spots besides just food trucks. I'm excited to try them once I get back to Houston. But yeah, I thought the boys held it down. El Jefe is always gonna come with the heaters. So yeah, what do you think? What do you think about the podcast? I mean the interview.
Yeah. No, it was good. We have a debutant unofficially, but officially, Rudy. Rudy was his first feature at
Yeah.
Challenger Blueprints. We got him somehow. But no, I think it was good. I think she was very sincere about her how she's been incorporating. I think I think it's different from from men's soccer to women's soccer, other than injuries. But after giving after being pregnant and giving birth, the body takes a toll, like an injury.
Mhm.
It's almost like an injury, like she says, it's having her adjusting a while and getting back into rhythm and getting back to her body, used to her body. It's a hard adaptation, just transitioning from one phase of life to another, and just give credit to to these women, who have been giving birth and coming back onto the pitch. It's not easy. It's not easy on the body, and it just shows how much they're putting effort into the game. But it's good to see that. It's good to know that she's doing her best and everything, and now getting back and starting. So it's just really interesting on that as well.
Mhm.
We will hopefully the next interview we have. Hopefully someone can break that tie of who has the best dresser. Dee and Michelle. We need some more input. We need some more input. It was just always
Comment down below who you guys think is the best fashion wise. Comment down. Put it in the live chat. Let us know. Let us know who you guys think has the best fashion.
yeah. I think Barb is the underdog sometimes. I think she has. I think Barb has a good swag. Yeah.
She rocked that old throwback Argentina jersey that one time.
Yeah.
It's so fire. Oh my
Yeah.
god.
So I think she's like the under the radar underdog on some of these. So I pretty much I think it will be that. But before before we forget, before we're going too long, the our predictions or preview for the Utah game. Utah has been in a bumpy start of the season, draw and then lost 3 games and really just got their first win against Chicago through a last minute effort on I believe it was a, if I'm not mistaken, a penalty. Yes, that was conceded, and then Ali Setner, who's basically the best player on the pitch, Ali Setner. How do you feel the Dash has lined up against Utah, and most importantly, it's a home game.
Hmm.
Dash hasn't won all season, and this season, you think they get the first win this Friday?
I think they have to. I honestly think they have to. I think we're getting at a point where we're reaching May, and then the thick of it in summer begins. And when you're talking about the thick of it in the NWSL, it's a period of time during the season that nobody wants to get into a slump or go into it already in a slump. And I think the more that the Dash can accumulate points now, the better they are. I know, let's not get ahead of ourselves, but there is a possibility for playoffs. There is always that chance this early in the season, and I feel like this is the Dashers game to really impress people at home and bring in fans and bring in people that haven't heard of the team and are curious about the new coach or new players or whatnot. I think this is a must win for the Dash, considering that, I mean, Utah is a solid team. They have a lot of talent, but they've had a rough start to the season, and I think they are very, very winnable right now. Like the Dasher are in a very, very good position right now, and I feel like it would be at their disservice to drop points here at home. Um, I wouldn't bank on the two home games in a row. I think you need to get as many points as you can at home. Um, so aim for six. Aim for 6 points in 2 games. I think they need to hold that as like the minimum.
Yeah, I think so too. I know surprisingly, as I think you mentioned, May is the thick of it, but I feel like Dash has an easy May schedule, you know,
Hmm.
has an easy May schedule because you have Utah who's like just below them, then you have Racing Louisville who is below them, then you
Hmm.
have Seattle who's just above them. The only tough match in May will be the Portland Thorns, who's
Hmm.
gaining momentum right now. They have 2 wins at the moment. Well, of course, they play one game ahead of everyone, but still has some momentum going in. And of course, Bay FC, who just or 2 positions above them. So you're playing around that, around where you are right now in the league. So I think that if it is not a high stressful game, but still you want to get points right there. Utah. I think going into Utah, just specifically into this game, Utah hasn't been in the. I think this is the game I think many people will look on just because these 2 teams were in the bottom of the table last season. This
Hmm.
this this year you will the both teams have made huge, you know, additions to the team. You expect these teams to have a good turnaround this season and perform better, and they have, and quotations, but so early on in the season, would that continue on? And so I think this will be a matchup. Okay, who between these 2 teams, who has progressed the most? You
Hmm.
know, I think the
Yeah.
only thing that going into Utah's favors, Ali Setner, she has blossomed into
Hmm.
a striking force. I think she's pretty much what you would say she is the pretty much the Mallory Swanson for that team.
Yeah.
If she's not playing, if she's not performing, the team's not performing
Hmm.
basically. So I think that's the only thing, going for them, and hopefully, she will do something to get this team going. But if if the Dash can hold on and know how to contain her, then that will be the main key point, and then handle everything and score. I think this is
Hmm.
a good done deal for the Dash to win. So, but that's my prediction. That's my uh, analysis to this game. So hopefully they uh got get back on their heels, get to the game plan, and perform it. And so we'll see how it goes. But predictions time. What do you predict for how this game will score line?
I think it's gonna be it's gonna be a 1-0 win. I think Yaz is getting her first.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, I think Yaz is getting her first. We're gonna get a nice clean sheet. I really see us having a high scoring affair, but also don't really see us really conceding that many or any, if all. So I think this is going to be the most 1-0 game we will ever see. Like a goal in the 5th minute and then nothing for 90 minutes.
So I think so. I feel like this team is more prepared a whole rounded than Nash, but they had a tougher schedule in the beginning of the season. So we will see, you know, Utah has a tougher schedule in the beginning because they have San Diego, who's right now one of the you know best teams right now, and you have KC undefeated, and you have Portland, and so the only easy game they had was Chicago,
Mm-hmm.
and Bay FC, that had a tie. So we will see. We don't know how this Utah is against someone their own level, but we'll see how it goes. We'll see. But I do see hopefully the Dash can get a result. Hopefully I do see just a 1-0 win. But I'm going with Messiah Bright to score it.
Oh, okay. I like that. I like
But
that pick. I like that.
well, we'll see. We'll see. I think she will continue to start. She will continue to get that starting position, and hopefully Deanna can get more minutes off instead of just the 5 or the 10. I think at
Mhm.
least a good 20 or so. But that's pretty much it, everyone. It was a good lengthy episode. I think it was one of the lengthiest we had ever did.
I think this is the longest. I think this is the longest.
Yeah, but it was good. It was good. Detail good. I think we had a lot of conversations with 5 games in. Hopefully, a win over this weekend can gives us more belief, more
Hmm.
grit, and hopefully next Wednesday we can see how we can do better next week. Hopefully, we come back happier, better, and move up. Oh, it's impossible to move up the table, but because Seattle has 7 points, we barely have 4. So we're not moving up the table. Just a winner would be a lot better. But
Let's get ourselves a nice one.
yeah, but that's it for today. We'd like to thank everyone. If you always want to reach out for us, we'll look for at biocitysoccer.net or BioCity Soccer on X, Instagram, Threads, Blue Sky, YouTube. I'd like to thank Ugly Guppy and also Letras Bravos for always sponsoring us and taking care of us. Well, you got anything else for the fans before we leave?
Uh, no, just watch the game, support them at home. I need to see a lot of seats at the game because I won't unfortunately be there. So I need you guys to really pick up the slack and really support the dash while I'm gone.
So pretty much it. Thank you for everyone. Thank you for tuning in, and also always be with us and always hold it down. Take care.